Hi, my name is Dan Fornes, and this is Easter Seals Wisconsin Behavior Management. What we're going to talk about today are the stages of challenging behavior that you might see at camp. The first stage is adaptive, which is the baseline or regular behavior of your camper. It's really important that you maintain a positive attitude and provide a lot of positive attention to your camper so that they want to stay in the adaptive phase so they feel safe, they feel comfortable, and they're not going to feel a lot of those stress triggers come into their life. But it is important to be proactive so that you know those stress triggers so that if you see them happening, you can prepare your camper, you can prepare yourself, and you can prevent moving into the tension stage. Tension is basically your camper is becoming upset. You're going to notice a change in body language, facial expressions, maybe behavior, speech. There will be a change in your camper. It's important for you to be calm and positive through all of this and start to use those strategies that we'll go over in training a little bit more, such as foreshadowing, lead time, patience, redirections, giving choices, that sort of thing. Because it's going to be your job to respond to the stress in a positive way to hopefully get your camper back to that recovery stage. The next stage is emotional distress. If for some reason you're not able to get them out of that tension stage, they may move into emotional distress, which is verbally acting out, maybe pacing something. There's going to be a change in the mood of your camper. It's important, again, to remain calm and positive, but stay neutral. You don't want to talk anymore. You don't want to give them any more stimulus. You want to give them the opportunity to get out of that emotional distress. You don't want to keep adding things to that. You want to have a respectful positioning. You don't want to stand right in front of your camper. You want to be open and positive and supportive to hopefully get them to return to that recovery stage. If you're not able to get them to return to the recovery stage, they might turn into physical distress. Physical distress is basically self-injurious behavior or any sort of physical acting out, like hitting, kicking, spitting, what have you. It's the most important thing to remember is creating a safe space for yourself, for your camper, and for other people. Now that means just creating an area where they're not going to hurt themselves, they're not going to hurt you, and they're not going to hurt other people. Again, use the training, use the stuff you're going to go over with the rest of your staff when you get here. You want to give space, you want to stay calm, you want to stay positive, but most importantly, you want to get help and get support. Because we want to make sure that our campers are getting what they need so that they can come out of that physical distress and come into the recovery stage. When they're in the recovery stage, they are returning to normal. They're basically becoming adaptive again. You want to provide the positive reinforcement, the positive support. You want to have a good attitude. Again, you want to pay attention to those stress triggers, but you also want to provide non-judgmental support. There might be a lot of embarrassment, a lot of remorse, a lot of negative self-feeling about what they did in the emotional and physical distress stages. You want to move past that. You want to come up with a plan, you want to be supportive, but most importantly, you want to move past that so you and your camper can get back to having fun at camp. Alright, in the last video we talked about the stages of challenging behavior, but what happens when you get to the recovery stage and you want to make a plan for next time? You always got to remember your ABCs, your antecedent, your behavior, and your consequence. The antecedent is anything that happens before the behavior. It might be something in the environment, might be a certain activity, might be something that you're doing, but anything that happens before the behavior that contributes to it happening in the first place. B is the behavior. What is it that your camper is actually doing? What is it you want to change? What is it you want to replace? Define the behavior of your camper. C is the consequence. Might be positive, might be negative, but it's anything that might be reinforcing that behavior to occur in the first place. Anything that is increasing the likelihood of that behavior happening. So when you're talking with your camper, when you're talking with your leadership staff, and you're trying to figure out a plan for next time, remember your ABCs so you can critically look at the behavior itself and figure out what you need to change to prevent it from happening. Alright, so when we're talking about behavior at camp, a lot of times we say, stay calm and be positive. But I know all of us know what that means, but we're going to provide a little visual metaphor to really explain what that means at camp. Alright, so let's say your camper is the boat and the ocean is the emotional state of your camper. When they're in the adaptive stage, there might be a couple waves, the boat's kind of rocking a little bit, but for the most part, it's calm. Now, let's say they get to the attention stage. The waves are kicking up a little bit. Waves are kicking up, the boat's rocking a little bit, the boat's rocking, but everything's still okay. It's not too bad. Those sort of things happen. They get to the emotional distress, and the waves are kicking up a lot. That boat is getting tossed. There's a big storm coming. That boat is going all over the place. It's riding the waves up and down, has no control over what's happening. So then you get to the physical distress, and things are getting a little hairy. That is the perfect storm type weather. It is a hurricane monsoon. There's bad things happening. There's a bad storm. Now, where are you in all of this? Well, you are the horizon line. You're that nice, calm, level presence out in the distance that the camper can get back to. When they're in the adaptive stage and there's just those little waves going, the boat's moving just kind of a little bit, they can look out there and they can see nice calm horizon line out in the distance. The waves start kicking up a little bit and the boat's going all over the place. And it gets emotional distress and the boat's going all over the place. It gets physical distress, the boat's going all over the place, riding the waves up and down. They can still look out here and see that horizon line. And they know that there's something out there in the distance that they can return to. There's that calm, steady, positive presence that is safe for them, that they can come back to. Because what happens when you're on the boat? If you get on the boat with your camper, you're not able to solve anything. You're not that calm presence. You're being tossed right along with them on the waves and you're too close in the situation. So remember, be the horizon line. Don't get on the boat. And that's how you're going to be able to help your camper out a lot this summer.